who have their front door on Elm Street. It is also the very first street in Toronto that featured a pay and display machine installed way back in 1998. And today, as Michael has indicated, we're announcing that Elm Street is also the first street in the city where you can pay for on-street parking through the Green P mobile app. And by the end of the year, residents in the city will be able to pay for parking on every street by using the Green P app. Starting today, you'll be beginning to see these location IDs, such as the one that's up on those signs there, 3001, on the pay and display machines and on the signs throughout the city. It's going to take time to do both the machines and the signage. The finish to that project will be by the end of the year. And by spring, you'll see the IDs on all of the signs at the same time. And this is very exciting news for the city, and I really want to speak about it in the broader context of modernizing the city. The Parking Authority, and I want to commend Lauren and Michael and the board and the staff and the people that they work with. The Parking Authority has been showing great leadership when it comes to helping Toronto catch up and keep up when it comes to the addition of more smart cities technology. Because let's face facts, we were behind as a city. We'd allowed ourselves to fall behind. And this is an example of how we can modernize the services the city offers and modernize the way the city delivers them. I am happy that TPA has us here today, and I know that as we go forward as Canada's biggest city and as Canada's capital of innovation, that they will have us first to modernize in this way, unlike some of our past track record. The people of Toronto are not just ready for this innovation leadership, they're hungry for it, and they want Toronto to be a leader. Already, 25% of the transactions for parking in Green P lots are made through the app just over a year after its launch. And that is because the app gives customers the best possible parking experience convenient to them. With the app, as you probably know, in parking lots up until now, customers have been able to purchase parking tickets, track their parking history, and extend their parking time remotely. And I think the last one is the one that probably people value the most, that as they're sitting in some meeting or doing some shopping and it's taking a bit longer than expected, they can actually extend their parking time through their phone and not have to rush back to the place where they parked. There is an alert reminding customers when their parking time is about to expire, and for me, this kind of stuff just makes sense and it's long overdue. And so I want to applaud the efforts of the Toronto Parking Authority for delivering a payment option that is both convenient and cutting edge. We're not the first in Canada to have this, but we are going to be striving to be first more often, and as Michael said, we're going to be striving to make sure that when we come forward with these things, we are also the best. Our role in this city cannot any longer be to fight the future or deny the future. Our role has to be to embrace the future and, in fact, in Toronto, to be the future. We get to the future by first getting the city and its services to today, and we must keep our sight on moving forward from there. It's with forward-thinking divisions in the city, like the Toronto Parking Authority, that we're getting Toronto into the 21st century and delivering to people the services and delivery of those services in a way they've come to expect in 2016. A 21st century government for a 21st century city. And that's why I'm determined to see us build, and in recent years we just haven't been keeping up. We have to build, we have to embrace the future, we have to find ways to use technology and data more effectively to serve the people of Toronto. Whether it's telecom service in the subway, monitoring your own water usage online, paying your TTC fare with your debit card, or checking on the status of your parking tickets on the internet, these are all about how City Hall can make people's lives easier for them. Every one of those things has been done at my urging since I came to office, and there will be much, much more as we catch up and then make sure that we keep up, which we didn't in the past. There is no reason whatsoever why Toronto should be 5th or 7th or 3rd when it comes to these kinds of smart city innovations. We should be first because we've got the smart people here, we've got the size of the city, we've got the agencies like the Toronto Parking Authority that can make this happen. We are Canada's innovation champion, and we have to start acting like it on everything we do every single day. Torontonians want a city that works at their speed and at the speed of the 21st century, just as fast as them, just as smart as them, just as smart as the times that we're in. And so again, I want to say thank you to the Toronto Parking Authority and to their board and to their staff and to Lauren Persico in particular, who's a very effective leader there. I want to say thank you to their suppliers who helped make this happen, and I want to say thank you as well to the Toronto Police Service, who will help as they do with the enforcement of the laws on a go-forward basis. Regardless of what the technology is to buy the parking space for a time, we still need to have people to enforce those laws, and they will continue to do their excellent job even in the light of the new technology. And as a matter of interest, when I was reading to learn about this, it'll make sense, of course, that all the little handheld units that the police carry around have to be hooked into this system so they can see that it isn't just a car that didn't bother to buy one of those tickets that goes on the windshield, but that's somebody that's in the system. So you can imagine that is part of the reason why these things are complicated, because you have to tie systems together so that you won't have people getting tickets that shouldn't get one. So those are my comments, and I will look forward to answering your questions after we finish with the presentations today.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Rick Stubbings, Acting Deputy Chief of Operational Support Command. It's my pleasure to be here today to greet you this morning and just be so happy about our role in the enforcement with our partners, with Green P, the technology of the City of Toronto. As you know, we're interested in the smooth movement of traffic flow. We're interested in not obstructing any of our thoroughfares or routes, but we're interested in the business of customer service. And this way is a way that customers can park their vehicles lawfully in legal spots. They can be provided some assurance that our officers will not make mistakes and unintentionally cause them any sort of disruption or grief. As the mayor pointed out, at times people find themselves a couple minutes running late. This is a way that people can add to the smoothness of their day. And you know what? Customer focus is what we're about. And this is a great technology to assist our parking enforcement officers to be able to apply enforcement in a way that makes sense, in a way that's efficient for them, and resolve unintentional consequences of unintentional mistaken enforcement. And that's what we're all about, and that's why we're excited to be here today, partnering with our partners from the city and Green P and the technology that's involved. So thank you so much for being here. And I also have people that are here to conduct a demo afterwards if you so wish. Thank you so much.
Good morning. My name is John Carew. I'm the Executive Director of the Toronto Association of BIAs, and I'm thrilled to be here this morning participating in this exciting announcement regarding mobile pay parking. Innovative technological and digital advancements are very important for the small businesses in this city. This announcement, on the heels of our own announcement recently with regards to Digital Main Street, has moved small business and digital presence forward significantly. In advancing our businesses and commercial activities and drivers along, we've moved into the 21st century. Tabia represents 82 business improvement areas across the city, who in turn represent some 40,000 small businesses and property owners, all of whom are very excited about this application. Parking is always one of the top priorities of the local business community, so when parking is easier and more convenient, there's a direct benefit to the businesses in this city. New technological advances allow businesses a greater flexibility to interact with their clients and customers. For example, it gives them the flexibility to reward customers' loyalty if they choose to through a merchant discount code that can be used on this app. And if you're a small business owner or self-employed, the app also allows you an easy way to track your parking receipts and build loyalty rewards. And isn't it great that you can extend your parking session right from the doctor's office if that appointment happens to be a little late, or for that matter, from a restaurant when you're dining and lingering over your dessert and there is no rush to get out of there. So it's we're very excited to be a partner in this launch, and rest assured that we will be advancing this through our business community, encouraging our customers to take on the app. And certainly we thank Green P Parking and all the partners and the City of Toronto for this initiative. Thank you.
So we're all available to answer your questions, and I think there's going to be some demos you can see beyond the one that I tried to offer in my own car on my own phone. So questions on this or anything else you wish today? First of all, I will say that when I was presented with all the information leading up to the decision on the one-year pilot, it was pointed out to me that there are extensive numbers of green P spots to the north of Bloor Street, in behind where all those stores are, and I think they're probably underutilized. And so in that sense, there is quite a bit of green P parking, let alone other parking there. Secondly, as you know, we are rigorously and continuously monitoring all aspects of this. We're a couple of months into it now. I've taken the trouble twice to go out myself personally to canvass businesses out there. Not that businesses are the only people to be consulted, but it's obviously very important to us that small business continue to have an opportunity to prosper. And when I've been out, I haven't yet been to Koreatown, because it has been brought to my attention that some of those businesses say they're struggling more since the implementation of the pilot project. But when I've been out, the businesses have said some up a little bit, some down a little bit, but none of them said it was a catastrophic decrease or a euphoric increase. And they raised with me far more, in fact almost exclusively, safety-related issues to do with pedestrians not being used to the bikes coming on the inside lane, to do with the awkwardness sometimes of cars opening doors, depending on which doors were opening, with the bikes and all that kind of thing. And so I will just say what I've said before. This is a pilot project. We are doing this in a responsible manner. We are measuring everything that can be measured vis-a-vis the impact on pedestrians, cyclists, cars, businesses and neighborhoods, and we will look at that information at the end of the time, which is about 10 months from now, and make a decision based on that evidence. Certainly, as far as I'm concerned, that's the basis upon which we'll make that decision. It's the one point I meant to say. I think there's a point there. Even when I looked at the map, when I was out canvassing the businesses, noticed that there were green Ps where there weren't the kinds of signs that point to them as easily off Bloor Street. And I think we can do a better job of that. And I'll certainly talk to Mr. Persko, he's right here, and see if we can't do a little better. Because I think a lot of people don't realize those green P lots are to the north of Bloor Street, just to the north, right behind the stores, and that it's a very convenient place for them to park. Well, I mean, Hydro hires their own consultants without any advice or direction from me. And I understand in the case of one of them, at least, it was as a result of a competition. And surely we're not to the stage where, because somebody got involved on any side of a political campaign, those people are disqualified from competing. And then if they're good enough to compete and winning a business at which they're very good. And so I think this is something where there's a process to be followed. As far as I can tell, it was followed. And that is what people, I think, would find most important, that there is a process, there's a competitive process. If people win, then the fact they were involved in anybody's campaign, mine or anybody else's, I mean, to me is irrelevant.
Some in the energy community are saying Toronto Hydro started laying the groundwork for this as late as last December. Who gave Toronto Hydro the authorization to start spending money on lawyers and consultants before council had even said, look at such a question?
Well, Toronto Hydro has its own board of directors and operates on many matters without coming back to the shareholder and constantly asking, can we do this or can we do that? That's the whole idea of setting up bodies like Toronto Transit Commission and Toronto Hydro, is that they have a degree of expertise and independence they apply to whatever it is they're doing at a given point in time. But I will say that, coincident with the dates you talked about, or shortly thereafter, the City Council itself authorized its officials to go out and get advice on what could be done, if anything, with respect to assets like Toronto Parking Authority and Toronto Hydro, and that's exactly what's going on right now. We haven't seen those reports yet, and Toronto Hydro, I assume, is doing what its board, which includes, by the way, 2 or 3 members, I think 3 members of City Council, deems to be best for it to be done in terms of exploring things that it should be exploring to run its